Hi there, welcome to today's video. It's the 1st of October, which means only one thing. Halloween is on its way. I was going to wear a witch's hat today, but I can't find it, so I'll have to get a new one for the remainder of the month. But I thought it would be a really nice idea to have a few extra videos throughout October, so I'm going to be making some really easy, well hopefully really easy tutorials. So today's is all about this little chap here. Don't know if you can see, so I'm going to be showing you how to make a Halloween bat brooch. So let's go and get started. So for this tutorial you'll need some dark polymer clay, either black or a dark grey as I'm using here, and a tiny piece of white, a tiny piece of pink and a tiny piece of grey. I'm using dark grey clay because it allows you to see a little more definition on your character. I think black can be so dark sometimes that you kind of miss seeing some of the smaller details, so yeah, I think this is one for a dark grey really, but use black if you've got black clay to hand. So I'm going to start out by rolling the clay. Mine's been through a pasta machine here, which I'd recommend if you have one, but if not you can just roll yourself a sheet of black clay. And I'm using a cookie cutter here to create the base shape of the wings. And you need to try and make them as symmetrical as possible, so I've just gone slightly out of frame here, but I think you can see what I'm doing. So it almost looks like an axe really, an old-fashioned axe. And with my teeny tiny cookie cutters here, I'm adding some smaller shapes, and I'm being really careful to try and make them as symmetrical as possible. The neater that they look, the more effective your character will be. And to make some definition on the wings, I'm just using some clay here that I've shaped out of the cookie cutters, just really thin strips. It just looks a little neater than if you try and make you know, lines of clay yourself, but you know, you can make strips of clay yourself, whichever works out easier really. It's kind of a little bit fiddly, but I think it's worth it really. And I just need to do that on the other side too, as you can see here. Apologies if you can hear some background noise today. My studio is based on quite a busy road, and yeah, there's lots of rain about today, so I'm trying to muffle the noise up as best I can, but you know, it's quite a difficult thing to do, so apologies for any background noise that you pick up during this video. So there we go, this is looking kind of nice and neat now. Just using my scalpel just to take off the ends here, just trying to be as neat as possible. So now the wings are done, I'm going to work on the body, so I'm just using a small amount of clay here just to make a basic body shape, like so. And with my medium-sized ball tool I'm going to make some indentations where his eyes are going to go, or her eyes are going to go. You don't have to do this, you can actually put your eyes straight over the clay, but I like to do this really to work out where your eyes are going to go really. And moving on to the bat ears, I'm using the teeny tiny cookie cutter I have here just to create some basic ear shapes, like so. Again, I need to make them as symmetrical as possible, so it might take a few attempts just to get them of a similar size and shape. There we go. And they just attach to the back of the head really easily. You can be as detailed here as you want to be. If you wanted to add other colours onto the ears, you can do. So now I'm going to add in some eyes, just with some white clay, but you can use any colour clay that you want. Perhaps some yellow would work here too, be quite effective. Maybe some glittery clay. And moving on to the nose, bats have quite sort of pig noses really, which you don't kind of appreciate till you kind of look at them for research. So I'm just using it as a base here to work out where I need to position some little teeny tiny vampire teeth. They look pretty good. So then the nose will just go over like so, and just pop in some nostrils so they look kind of pig-like. There we go, it's all coming together. And just adding in some pupils. Alternatively, you could use some black beads for your eyes. It's entirely up to you, but if you were to do this, I'd suggest that you work with a lighter shade of grey for your bats, just so that you can see the eyes better. And just moving on to some little feet here, which you can leave off if you want actually, it's entirely up to you. And I'm just going to make a little recess in the wings here where I want the body to go, just so that it kind of stays firmly attached when I press it down. And just to ensure that everything's kind of quite secure, I'm just going round just with my fingers, pressing down on the wings and the details on the wings, just to try and ensure that they stay attached. And for a little bit of detail, I'm just adding some really cute little pink cheeks here. And just some tiny little grey eyebrows here, just to add a little bit more character to the bats, but you can leave those off if you want. So he's all ready to bake, and at this point you'll need to refer to your own brand of polymer clay's baking instructions. Now the bat's baked and cooled, I'm going to add some Sculpey glaze to the model, just here and there, to add little bits of definition really. Because it's so dark, it's quite a nice thing to do, because it you know, just highlights here and there, just to garner a little bit more attention. And 2 coats is always preferable, just in case you miss any areas really. So here I'm just going to glaze just the details on his wings and his nose and his feet. It's always quite a therapeutic thing to do this, I quite enjoy it. So now the glaze has dried, I need to add a brooch fastening to the back, so I'm just going to use some epoxy glue. It's just a cheap brand. It's a 2-part glue that you'll need to mix together, just with a little cocktail stick or such like. And just add the glue to the reverse. And that attaches like so. And you'll need that to dry for about 24 hours. I'm just going to position him on an old wet wipe here, just so it dries flat really. And now the bat's all done, so he's pretty much ready to wear. Thanks very much for watching. I'd be really interested to hear if you've any suggestions for what you'd like to see me make throughout October. So yeah, leave those below, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.